What is up, babies? Welcome to another episode of Get Close. I am your co-host, Gio.
And I'm Bart.
And today we have a very special guest, my brother, a family member of mine. I'm so stoked to have you here, Matt Vincent. If you don't know who Matt Vincent is, you've been like, you need to know who this dude is. I absolutely love your story because you were just like, okay, so you started off, you're from Louisiana. You got a scholarship to LSU for what?
Track and field. So went to on a track and field scholarship to throw shot put, discus, and hammer at LSU.
Fucking stud. Okay, so then that slowly trickles and translates to you now competing in what?
So after that, I go through finishing college and then getting back into lifting a couple years after and getting into strongman and then finding a local group that's doing that. So this is like 2007, 2008. So get into strongman, find a group in Baton Rouge, and then that turns into, oh, there's a Highland Games to go do. So I go do one of those. Immediately.
How many people are there?
And for people that don't know, what is Highland Games?
So Highland Games is the Scottish Heavy Athletics is, I guess, what it's called. And so what they used it for was when the English took over Scotland and they weren't allowed to train for battle anymore.
What was this, like 1600s or even earlier? Or?
I don't know. I don't know that much about it.
Nice.
Back when they were doing those things and taking over Scotland, like Braveheart-ish times.
Okay.
Nice.
We'll use that as a reference.
So
When Mel
pre-Tesla.
Gibson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah. After the dinosaurs, before Tesla.
Got
Okay.
it.
And so
Perfect.
so clans would meet up and have these gatherings and they
What
would,
kind of clan? What kind of clan are we talking about?
so like just different
Because
clans.
there's
Like,
different
so like
clans, dude.
in
Not so
Scotland, that
popular
would be
clans.
like family.
Okay, got it.
Like
'Cause,
McLaren or any of the whatever their crazy Scottish names
okay,
are.
cool. That's a good clan.
And so they would challenge each other. And these were a handful of the athletic events. They also did like track and field events. They did all those type of things,
So it's like Scottish breakdance battles.
essentially. Yeah,
I fucking love you.
that's the best way to do it.
That's what breakdancing was, right? It's for people that grew up in the hood. How can we battle without violence? I'll do this and I'll do this and I'll spin on my back. And that means I shot your mom. But then you come back and you spin on your head and you shot my dad. Oh no, I'm so sad.
It's like the whole Beat It video. It's a very confusing video.
Nice.
Why don't they just stab each other's hands if you have a knife?
Exactly. But this
don't
is
wanna.
more like my family is stronger than yours. Rah.
I get it. I get it back in the day.
And so because they couldn't train for battle, they would use farm equipment and essentially still train. So you had hammers that they would throw. They'd use stones they throw. They'd have the weights they throw. And the weights came from like the counterbalances that you would use on scales for weighing out grain that you were going to sell. And so got into that sport and got good at it pretty quick with a throwing background and then being relatively strong. Competed in it for about 10 years.
Woo.
Won 2 world championships.
Okay, who's the one that won the there's like, what's the most that anyone's ever won at this? From what I saw, it was only 6.
I think it's 6. Dan McKim may be the guy.
And the reason why I bring that up, because I want
6 is a lot.
6
Six is a lot, but you're still like that. Like that's it though. Like you've won 2 of those.
Yeah, I won 2.
That's amazing.
And
I don't know the percentage.
I was the
math.
only guy to beat him out of his 6.
Wow.
That's why I brought that up. I wanted you to flex. Our point here is because our friends are super humble and they've achieved so much, and you're just not flexing type of people. So what we want to do is we want to flex.
All right.
For our friends. So that's why I brought that up specifically.
Are you considered the Michael Jordan of Highland Games?
I'm not.
Are you?
I don't know currently like if
You're on a Wikipedia page, bro.
do I?
You are. You're on there.
Are you the Scottie Pippen of the Highland
Ooh,
Games?
I go with that. More of a Muggsy Bogues, really, if I'm
What
picking.
a stud. I love that. Okay.
But yeah, it was fun. And so like, yeah, I had 2 days where I was able to get the best of him. But man, he was such a hard competitor to beat.
Going in with a throwing background already, did you feel like you're going into a sport where you're like, wait, I know how to throw things the right way, and these guys are throwing things the more like
Leveragey.
yeah, like the more traditional way, and it might not be so scientific. Did you go like, I have an edge on these guys?
You absolutely do. Yeah, you have an edge on it because you already know how to accelerate implements and apply force and the technique of what makes that work from throwing with the college background, right? It's like having a 10-year head start. And all that works really well until you're in the pro class and then everyone knows how to throw.
Because everyone has the same background.
Everyone in the pro class are all washed up ex-throwers. And it's an interesting sport because really good throwers go to the Olympics. They don't go to this.
That makes sense.
Makes sense, right? Yeah. And so
I get it.
everyone in the Highland Games is like a second tier thrower. And so it was so much fun of a sport. Like we got paid. There was prize money. I got to travel around the world. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
By far the coolest thing I've ever got to do that totally changed everything for me.
Sick. Okay, so you do that. You win 2 times. What makes you stop?
I ended up injury. Injury is what finally got me out. And it wasn't like a catastrophic failure. I had a knee start going south on me. I finished my 2016 season. I tore a meniscus in May.
That's your first
injury.
First real injury.
Yeah, well, I don't have an ACL at this point. Like I tore it in college. I got it fixed, and then I tore it again at a skate park.
I see.
Whenever I had the bicycle shop.
Yeah, so it's not your first injury.
No, I finally have something that has to be addressed.
I see.
And so the meniscus gets a tear. I fix that and then finish out that season with the intention of like, we'll ride out the 2016 season and then have ACL surgery. I'll take off 2017 and 2018, be back at it. And didn't work out like that. So finished 2016 and had an ACL surgery and then had 4 more ACL surgeries and then
in a span of what? How long?
3 years was the total course of the surgeries. And I had a year in there that no surgeries happened.
Was it like because it was botched up and you have to go back and redo them, or it wasn't just healing properly? Why
wasn't healing. And so we were doing cadaver tissue. Since I had the ACL that I tore in college, I had already fixed it once using a patella tendon. And so your only option, it's for me.
Oh, from you.
Yeah. So use your own.
Okay.
Ideally, it's best. Like it's going to hold, it's going to take in. And so doing the patella tendon first, your only other option is a hamstring graft. Well, that was my original hope for the surgery in college was a hamstring, and then it didn't work. Not like it failed, but they pulled it and there just wasn't any hamstring tendon.
Fuck.
So like I have a big hole like in the back of my leg where they removed it.
I want to see that.
Yeah,
Does
later.
that compromise your hamstring at all?
I'm sure it's not great. Like I can't quite get my foot to my butt. But I don't know now if that's because of the knee or because I don't have a thing that pulls further.
Oh my God.
Okay, so we'll get there.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point, you are like, okay, I'm kind of hanging it up for the Highland Games, moving on into another space.
Well, that didn't come until way later, like until after the chronic pain stuff really hammered in, and then like I couldn't walk or do anything anymore. Like I very much realized that like, oh, we're not rehabbing anymore. Like I'll never compete again.
Oh shit, what did that feel like?
It was really weird. It was really weird because, man, I had gotten lucky enough as an athlete to find this hobby and find this thing that I loved. And not only that, like all my weird attributes and skills worked for it. I got to be best in the world at a thing 2 times. I'm not going to find a second thing. Like people don't have a second thing. They just move over.
Unless they're Michael Jordan, and now they fucking kill it in baseball.
And kill it in baseball. That's what he's known as. The Babe Ruth of basketball.
Yeah. The Babe Ruth of the minor leagues.
Yeah. And,
All right, he did all right. He did all right.
Better baseball player than I am. I'm not trying to take anything away from Michael Jordan, but I know publicity when I see it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So like once realizing I wasn't going to compete, like it was a really strange thing. And then I realized that like, it wasn't that I just couldn't compete. Like I wasn't athletic anymore.
That was your body was giving out.
Couldn't go up and down stairs. Like this right leg was just trashed. And that was a really hard thing.
I bet, because you're so capable. You get a scholarship because you're so fucking capable. You like you said, you won a world championship not once but twice. Yeah, I can.
Well, your
imagine
identity changes too, right? It's almost like as if Mariah Carey lost her vocal cords.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, I'm not a singer. What am I?
Right.
So
is this at the point when we meet you? Because when we met you, you were working, you were doing sales for like a construction company, right?
Yeah, I would have met you guys early.
9 to 5 guy.
Yeah, I was dabbling in other things, but I was competing. I was working in the petrochemical industry, so oil and gas, doing outside sales, selling I think refractory service was my last gig, which
What
is
is
like,
that? What the hell is that?
so like big giant, you know what a kiln is?
Yeah.
So kilns have like a concrete inside of them.
What's a kiln?
It's just like an oven that you would put ceramics in.
You never
got it,
made
got it.
pots in like
No.
elementary school, and you get to put a cool paint-
Elementary?
Yeah, you
That
put-
sounds dangerous.
No, you-
Kids in fire?
No. What you do is in elementary, you get clay, right? You make a cool little vase or whatever.
No, I didn't
and then,
have that.
And you cover it in this like paint, and then when you put it in the kiln, you know it's gonna come out shiny.
Yeah.
I'm LAUSD, dude. No budget for that shit.
All right.
Ghetto
So-
kid right here.
So the bricks that would go in a kiln, like as insulation
Yeah.
or like chimney bricks or any of that, that's refractory brick. So they just don't absorb heat well. So they dissipate it so that the other stuff next to it doesn't melt. So when you have big incinerators that are, say, 40 by 50, we have to spray on refractory on the inside of them. So that is refractory. We would install it.
And people don't know they need it, so you got to go out.
Or
and
they
sell
know
it.
they need it. They just needs repair.
Oh,
So it just wears out over time from cycling, different temperatures, expansion, contraction, whatnot. So did that. Yeah, when I met you guys would have been at the Arnold the first time.
Yep.
Like that must have been 2011,
So now at this point,
2011, really?
maybe.
yeah, it's been a minute. We knew him. We've known him a minute.
I know I've known Matt for a long time, but I didn't know it was that long.
So at that point, is hate your brand? Hate brand. You're wearing it all now. It's the steeziest shit ever.
I appreciate it.
Is this? I speak the truth, man. Is this now a thought in your head, and you're like, I'm going to pursue this, or are you still kind of like on the fence?
So by that point, I had written the first book, and the book was about training for the Highland Games. Just stick with what you know, right? So I talked about the hate in there, and then hate became an apparel brand in October of 2014 is when it started. And we've been doing that since. I got fired from the real job like in 2017 and just never decided to go back.
So when you got fired, were you like, cool, I'm going to lean into, because that's scary shit,
Super
right?
scary.
At this point, are you married or not yet?
I am married. Yes, I'm married at that point. And I kind of know the writing's on the wall with job. But like I was thinking about talking to my dad about it. And like I'd wanted to quit because hate's doing well enough, but also me quitting.
Because you're doing it simultaneously?
Yeah. And
I remember you
I'm
were
traveling
hustling.
to compete.
Wow.
And I'm traveling for outside sales. So like, I'm all over. But me losing that job still reduces my income by 50%.
Yeah, and that's
Like it's
freedom.
a fucking big deal though.
Opportunity, yeah.
That's a ton of extra cash.
Why did you get fired?
I would say I probably wasn't performing great.
Probably because your heart was already somewhere else. Huh?
100%.
For sure.
And like I can say some stuff about like I don't believe they were supporting the area that they had hired me for. I'd had some other things to deal with, but at the end of the day, it just wasn't a fit anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Like whatever.
Yeah.
And super scary. But then just leaned in.
Yeah, and I think that's the point that I really admire about you. When like we met you, you were literally doing all of that. You were traveling, you were networking. Like you said, you were at the Arnold's, you were sponsoring and talking to different athletes. And you were trying to balance all of it out. And I can see that you really wanted out of it because like you said, hate was doing well. And that right there is the moment that a lot of people get freaked the fuck out because they're like the security and the stability. Like you said, you were making a good income. You had the flexibility. You were,
Yeah, I was making almost 200 grand.
you had a company vehicle. Like
Yeah.
it was really good. But like, where were you like, fuck it? Like, what was that moment if you have that?
So by that point too, so this is 2017. So I'm 3 years into hate. Like hate's working. It's not a mystery at that point. By that point, like we're already decent sales and I'm paying
What's
myself.
decent sales if you don't mind?
2017 was our first year to do like $1 million gross revenue. So
Fuck yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
In
and
3
so-
years?
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it got there quick
Yeah.
and then it's been a fight.
What was the first year like?
So year one would have been October. So just October to January.
Okay.
We did like 14,000.
14,000. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is
And
still
then-
crazy.
Yo,
Fuck yeah.
I'm selling things I'm making. I don't give a shit. This
for
is
a
the
brand that
coolest
no one
thing ever.
heard of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously. And it's not like you were where we had the back end. We already had a fan base with you,
Right.
YouTube, JK Films. So that crossover for us wasn't as scary, right? Because we had the platform, but you were building that.
Yeah, like because
That's fucking rad.
I'd done the book and I had an audience and I had a bit of following, and so enough people were asking me for apparel, and I was like, "Fuck, I don't want to do that." because I don't have time. Because I also know that, like, I can't pack boxes. I'm not going to have time to do any of that. And then the customer service falls apart. This doesn't work.
Yeah.
And luckily, like my partner with it, Phil, who runs my warehouse in Topeka, he was like, well, I could print them and ship them and handle everything on the backside. I'm like, that changes everything.
Yeah.
And so we were able to run it that way immediately. Like I've always had it outsourced and I've never looked back.
That's so sick.
So what happened? What did you gross the second year? From 14 grand, which is in a few months.
Yeah. So 14 grand,
So your
basically,
first real
we'll
year.
call it the fourth quarter of the year.
Yeah.
Was 15 grand. The next year we did 112K.
Damn.
Yeah. For the year.
And that's still simultaneously having a
Yes. I have a
full-time
real job and I'm competing.
Holy
But you must have been
fuck.
stoked though. You're like, my
Dude.
hobby is making some real
It's
money.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember at that point, like when it was, I remember that because, I'm running it poorly by that point, right? Like I'm still just operating out of that account. Like it's my money and doing whatever. Cause it's not a real business yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like, I remember at that point being like, this is more money than can be spent. It's like, this is great.
That's awesome.
And it isn't by any stretch. Right. And so, it was really cool seeing that. And then year 3, we had a bigger pop. And so that was into 2016. We did like 750. Wow. So it went from like 100 up to 750. And then
It's amazing.
And then 2017 was our first year over $1 million.
God damn.
Did you celebrate in any way, internally or externally?
Oh, yeah.
Or with family or anyone, like just because I think for most people, I don't, myself included, whether you're working a full-time job or even getting into business for the first time, I don't think crossing the 7-figure mark is in your cards.
No, it's really hard.
Like when I'm in college, if someone was like, "Do you think you'll ever make $1 million in a year, like gross?" I'd be like, "No, that's for Bill Gates or some shit." I'm like, that's not me. Like I was trying to be a doctor, and I know that's a high paying job, and I thought I would probably cap out at 200 or 300
at
or
most.
something. Yeah,
Right.
So-
No, dude, being able to find $1 million is insane.
yeah.
Like whether you're a company or an individual, I don't give a shit. Like what an incredible amount that you've been able to have gravity to have attract to you.
Yeah.
And it was really cool, man. Like the business started growing. It was just me and a business partner, Mike, at that time, but he's a couple kids and all that type of stuff. And so as it became my real job, like I got more serious about it. And
making $1 million, you were like, "You want to fire me? I don't really care."
Right.
right.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, but we both know that doesn't translate to my income.
True.
Like,
Right,
you know what I
right,
mean?
It goes
Like,
right back into
Yeah.
the company.
Yeah.
Operating
And it should
costs,
be.
overhead, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point, great fucking traction with hate. You're like, okay, this is a fucking. I'm leaning in 100% this
100%,
direction.
yeah.
This job just let me go. Couldn't be even better. Yeah, shit might be a little bit shaky. You said you were still competing.
Yeah.
How many surgeries do you have at this point?
So by this point, like none.
Oh, okay, cool.
None. Like, so I win 2012 world championship. So I'd already won both world championships before I started selling a shirt. Now I finished second at any other world championship I went to up till 2016 when I retired. And so I'm still competing and traveling, and like, I'm competing a lot.
That's a lot.
So I compete like 22, 23 times a year.
Oh, shit.
So for that 10 years.
You're never not competing, dude.
Is the math like every other week?
So your season would be like, first game of the year was typically in North Carolina in April. And then like last game of the season is the last weekend of September.
Wow.
So I'm putting in 23 games in a 6-month period.
Holy shit.
And now you can steal some of that by going to Scotland. Like, so I'd go to Scotland and be part of Games Week. And so I would compete in Scotland like maybe 11 times in 15 days.
Shit.
And so it's just a different sport. Like it doesn't beat your CNS up the same way like powerlifting does, because I'm not doing any max effort stuff.
Yeah, you're just throwing.
And so you also get good at competing, especially over in Scotland with that type of deal where like I'll throw far enough to win. Like if I don't have to give you 100% today to get the paycheck and win, I'll throw 90.
Yeah, because you got another 11 games you got to worry
Yep.
about.
Be smart. And like you just treat them like training. And so you get really good at competing, which has been great because what that translates to the rest of life is like, man, I can perform when it counts.
That's awesome.
It's a cool confidence thing to walk away from that sport. Yeah. So we've continued there, finished competing, and then have just leaned into the business stuff. It's been an ongoing problem solving journey of trying to figure fucking life out.
Yeah. Thank you to Mack Weldon for sponsoring this podcast. All right, you guys, we are in the thick of it. It is holiday season. It is here. And with it comes the yearly question of, what do I wear to the non-ugly sweater parties? The adult parties. You know the ones I'm talking about where we have to look dope. Men, I'm specifically talking to you because Mack Weldon is going to make your life so easy, okay? So if you're asking yourself, how do I maximize my time savoring holiday moments and minimize my time shopping either for gifts or for clothes? All right, so fear not. Mack Weldon is here to the rescue, okay? Whether it's an office party or just a party with family and friends, or a holiday party of you, your couch, and a game on TV, Mack Weldon has all the essentials to keep you stylish and, don't forget the most important thing, ladies and gentlemen, comfortable throughout the season. And their innovative daily wear system has taken the hard work out of outfit planning with pieces designed to work together for any occasion, saving you time and sparing you extra holiday stress. Okay, so we're talking about top-notch tops, best-selling bottoms, and underwear and accessories that will please even the scroogiest guys on your list or at your party. Okay, so again, Mack Weldon, your holiday heavy lifting will be complete within minutes. For everyone listening right now, you're going to receive 20% off your first order. Visit mackweldon.com/bail and enter code BEAW, BEAR. That's mackweldon.com/bear. That's Mack, MACK, Weldon, WELDON.com/bail, BEAW, and claim your 20% off. Okay, let's do it. Okay, kind of going back. So Hate Brand, you said you retired in 2016, and then the retiring came about because of?
Yeah, because of the knee.
Okay. So then at that point, because I remember you documenting, like you said 9 surgeries.
Yeah.
And I remember you documenting one of the last ones, and you're trying to walk and you're just fucking devastated because it's been like a failure after a failure after a failure. At what point are you like, you know what? And what happened that you're like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Like, I'm not going to essentially not listen to what doctors are telling me in terms of like, they were telling you you're not going to be able to train again, walk again. Yeah,
but like that stuff's so standard. And now that I've had enough surgeries, I almost think of it as just like, it's almost from their standpoint. I think we're just such a litigious society that as a surgeon, as a doctor, it's just easier to be like, you're not going to be able to squat again. And then they just remove all expectations of that. So if you ever get to 135 again, you're like, prove them wrong. Like, it's just easier than to say you won't.
Yeah.
I think just legally.
Yeah.
Instead of disappointing people.
Yeah. But a lot of people take that to heart and
maybe.
they stop.
Yeah. I sure. I don't know.
There's also not enough of, I think, cross training and studies where like, there's medicine and then there's sports. And I think we finally are coming across more sports medicine and actually doctors who lift, who have rehabilitated. And then now I think in these elite sports circles, they'll have the physician, the PT, the person that works on mobility, and they can all kind of come to a conclusion together and give you a very well-informed conclusion. Whereas before, the doctor is literally, he's like one slice of the pie, but he has to draw conclusions for the whole thing.
Right.
So it's just easier to say, you're never going to walk, or you're never going to squat again or something like that.
Well, and if he's doing total knee replacement on someone who's gen pop and not
an athlete,
yeah, like, I don't need you to give me PT. Like, I don't need you to count my reps and sets. Like, I'm not driving here for physical therapy, no matter how important you're telling me it is, because this was an elective surgery. I wanted to have surgery so my knee gets better. Why wouldn't I do the work on the backside of it? That seems really stupid to me.
Yeah.
And so I did, and it just kept going bad. I would go in after 3 months of rehab and get it checked and like, the ACL graft isn't there anymore. So it's like, straight back in. Like I
it's
remember
just, like
waking,
it's not sticking or something.
it just, my body would just eat it.
Oh, what?
So it was just cadaver tissue. And so my body would just dissolve it.
Dissolve
Yeah.
it. What the fuck?
Yeah. And so like, I remember waking up from, so I had an ACL surgery and then I had this piece of floating something or other next to my knee. It's crazy what you get used to. And like, if my knee, dude, my knee would get weird and I could find this floating piece and I could push it out of the way and then my knee wouldn't hurt anymore. It was like driving an old vehicle. Like you're like she's finicky. Like you can pump the gas twice before you try to start her. Don't just
there we go. There we go.
Blowing in the cartridge of my knee essentially is like an old Nintendo. And so I go in and get that thing pulled out. And like as I'm waking up from surgery, Ashley, my wife at the time, tells me, she's like, so the ACL is not there anymore.
Oh, fuck.
And like, oh man, I just broke. Because that was like number 3.
Okay.
So it was like, fuck, another 8. So I'm back in 10 days after that surgery.
Oh
for
my
another
God.
ACL surgery. Getting good at going in for surgery is a really weird thing.
Yes.
What's the surgery process like? Because you got to go through anesthesia.
Oh, so like going in. Like how it all plays out that day?
And it's just, like how does it play out? Because for me, I've witnessed people go through surgeries. And from my understanding, it's a chunk of your life that you just have to hit pause on for, could be, I don't know, a couple of days to like a whole week. And
I think it depends on what your life is, right? Like that's part of the deal with kind of our things, right? Like you can't just stop.
Yeah.
Like I can't take a break from hate for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
That ain't how this works.
Yeah.
And so I managed to keep all that together during that thing, control what you can, right? Like, I can't let that fall too.
Yeah.
Because then what?
Yeah.
And so, fighting, not only that, the fear of, why would anyone give a shit what I'm doing as a non-athlete? I'm not competing anymore. Why would fucking anyone care what I'm up to?
Again, that's your identity, right?
Yeah. And so like, the longer I've gotten away from the identity part of it, the more I realize now, like what having this physical body that I was, gifted essentially, like what a change that built for me growing up, like where my confidence came from, like where my ability came from, all those things that I count on came from the physical side.
Yeah.
And I think about people that don't have that and like how fortunate I was, even though this has crumbled a bit or whatever, that I have this machine to operate in.
Did it ever cross your mind that it might just be easier just to cut it off?
Dude, that was
9 surgeries is a lot.
It's a really shitty thing to say, but I had gotten to a point where I was really desperate with surgeries and really depressed.
After how many was that at that phase?
8.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, after 8.
That's
and like, I just
fair.
don't have answers, man.
Yeah.
Like
8? That's fair, dude.
And not only that, like my last 2 are the high tibial osteotomy and this Oates procedure. And like both of those were 8 weeks, no toe touch pressure. So like just imagine operate your life, but you can't ever put one of your legs on the ground.
Wow.
And so you're on crutches. So how do you get food from your microwave to anywhere? How do you cook? How do you get your glass of water across the room?
Like when you're in such a, I guess, vulnerable, handicapped state where you're almost worse than you were when you were a baby, right?
You're kind of a burden now to others.
You're a burden to others and yourself. Did it ever cross your mind to go like, fuck, why did I ever do this? Like, do you ever regret the success? Like, does the success now come back to haunt you at all?
That never popped up. Like, because at the end of the day, I got to travel around the world with some of my favorite people ever. I don't know you guys without it. I don't know my best friends without it. I don't have the business. I don't have any of the things that are going well. Like, fuck, I'd give a leg tomorrow for it. I made the right move. It was well worth a leg. I know people with shitty knees who didn't do anything.
That's very true.
So like,
that's very true.
That's a dope perspective.
The sport was going to end, right? Like that, no one gets to do it forever.
Yeah.
Right.
And so my time and also hindsight is I wasn't going to leave healthy. Like that's not how that story was going to play out.
And you knew this.
I
You were
know
well
that
aware.
about me. And so here we are. But had that not happened, perhaps I'm still competing, which means my business isn't doing as well. I have a ton of stuff that isn't where it is right now, opportunity wise, because I would have still stayed competing.
And you would probably try to find another job to supplement your lifestyle.
Oh, going back, you asked about surgery. I do want to tell about that. Like, so going in and getting good at it.
Yeah.
So I'm driving to New Orleans from Baton Rouge. So it's an hour commute to the hospital or surgery. Yeah, to the hospital. I get there usually at like 4. So by this point, I'm damn sure first in line for the day.
And you probably fasted for 12 hours, right? Because they don't like you eating before surgery.
Yeah,
And then the
that was
staff's like,
never
"Matt,
something I thought
you're
of.
back, dude.
That's huge for me. I need to eat.
Really?
Yeah, I need to eat.
That's funny,
I
man.
love eating.
So yeah, I'd go in at 4 and then like check in. And then usually by 6, they've got me to a room.
Jesus Christ.
And then like, I bet I don't get pulled out of the room to get pulled back for surgery until 11 or noon. So you just sit there in your hospital room with some lady who comes in to shave your leg. I'm in a crappy hospital gown in bed.
No underwear.
No.
Completely open, ass hanging out.
What I did figure out was by surgery 3.
So when they masturbate one last time.
One last time. That's it. Just knock out a couple knuckle children and move on with my life.
Knuckle children. I love it.
So I realized like once they take me back and they're talking to me and they're like, how are things and all this? You know, how do you feel? Are you nervous or anything like that? And they typically will hit me with Versed, which is Valium. So it's injectable Valium. It's awesome.
Yeah, it just chills you the fuck
Dude,
out.
nothing matters. Everything's great.
And it's because at this point, your whole body's achy, right?
Yeah,
You've just
and
been dealing with a bunch of shit.
And it's standard. Like I'm going in for surgery. By this point, I'm just like, yeah, I just want this to work. Like now it's all I can think about too is like 3 months of rehab. I know what tomorrow looks like. Tomorrow is I'm in a straight leg brace and I'm on the assault bike using just my arms to keep blood moving, to keep healing going and all those type of things. And so what I got good at was as soon as they got me to my room and they're like, how are you? And I'm like, I'm anxious. So they would hit me with Versed then. So I'm like, sick. I have 4 hours with Versed before you guys pull me back.
Nice.
Like I'm looking forward to it. Like I'd put a playlist together on my phone and
Just
bring
chilling
headphones and be like, so yeah, make lemonade wherever you can, I suppose. And then get out of surgery, go home. It's really weird. I did a epidural one time.
You can't drive home, right?
No. So Ashley would typically drive me home.
So someone needs to drive you and then someone picks you back up. And drive you home.
So she would hang out.
Wow.
I know.
That's rough.
All of that crushes me.
Yeah, it sucks when you have to.
I hate being a burden.
Yeah, me too. I hate it when I got my eye surgery. Did you drive me home that day or I drove myself?
No, I drove you.
Okay.
I picked you up.
Because all my other checkups and appointments where they have to do stuff, like they use this laser to blast holes in your iris, I still just drove home because I don't want to be a burden to her.
Dude, I hate it.
So I would put on these special like sunglasses, and because they just blasted holes through my iris, everything would be hazy. And I'm like, this can't be worse than my grandpa driving. So I'm just like,
oh my God.
I was just figuring it out. I'll just stay in the slow lane.
Dude, with that feeling of like being a burden,
I
right?
hate being a burden, yeah.
So there's part of me that doesn't want to be a burden, but then there's also the other side of me that's aware the reason I feel this way is I don't want to be involved in your shit either. And so like, if I don't ask you for help, you're not allowed to fucking ask me for help.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Right. So there's part of it like, yeah, I don't want to go pick you up. Fucking Uber.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, I will not call my friends to help me move. Yeah, I'm not that guy for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it.
I don't want to help.
My threshold is different though. For me, unless I'm because the day of my eye surgery, I just, I'm put under, like there's so many things I just can't legally even drive. So of course I need her. Anything above that line, I'm driving. But for her, if she has anything like that, I don't mind.
Totally different.
Yeah.
It's totally different. And I don't mean that for like my partner. I mean that for like friends.
Yeah.
It'd be like one of my buddies.
Noted,
being
Matt. We're not going to ask you for fucking help, dude.
Like, hey man, we're moving. And like, I'll help, but I'm coming to move the 5 really heavy things that you need moved.
Yeah.
I ain't loading your bag of pillows into the fucking
If my
van.
friends ask me to move, I'm paying for a moving company so we can both like
Chill out.
drink beers and watch them do it.
Yeah.
Noted.
You know?
Free movers. Just call Bart for
Just
help.
call me. I'll call the movers. Yeah.
Okay. So then at this point, I want to get into the mindset of all of this, right? Because
Sure.
obviously you're getting fucking wrecked. You're getting crushed. You're thinking you're the burden. Like just you talking about it now and reliving that, you feel like you just feel heavy again.
Yeah, it sucks, dude.
What did that feel like and how did you overcome that?
Just overcoming feeling like a burden.
Like losing your identity.
How did all that, like, what did you go through? Like, let's go into the depths, if you don't mind, of that darkness, and then finding ways to get yourself out of that.
Yeah, like, so losing your identity, I think, is huge. Then trying to repair your identity, but having 8 failures, I think it goes down even more. And then also you must have been in a state of depression where you must have been like, I don't know where to go from here.
For sure. So there's those 3 factors. And then there's the real factor of chronic pain that I'm dealing with too. And the chronic pain thing, man, like to describe it, like while I've never felt with any like depression in my life, but prior to this, and it wasn't really until after that I'm able to realize what I'm doing, what I have going on.
I get you.
But man, the chronic pain thing, it's like my pain level was always between a 2 and an 8. So it's never less than that. Not if I'm laying still flat. It's never not a 2.
What do you consider a toothache? What level of pain is that? So I can kind of understand.
I mean, it depends on how bad the toothache is, but I don't know, 1.
A 1?
Yeah.
Like when you stub your toe in the middle of the night on the couch, what is that?
But that's such an acute pain.
Oh,
right? Like, so acute pain is a really different thing.
Versus chronic.
The chronic pain thing is it's a 2, but it never fucking goes away. It's essentially like trying to manage your day and Taika 100% tugging at you saying, hey.
Oh my God.
But even if you stop to address him, he just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And so like you can go and hang out with friends.
But there's still the hey.
And it can be loud enough you don't notice it. But as soon as you're by yourself, you're there.
And it must affect your sleep too.
Dude, sleep's bad. I'm also sleeping a bunch of nights in a straight leg brace. Like, and then throw in, marriage. And so during that stretch of time too, we were trying to have a kid. So 18 months of trying to have a kid while I'm trying to do surgeries, while it's just
running
too much.
A new business, being
just
an
too
athlete.
It's just too much, and the marriage lost. It was a real bummer. But we had to go forward,
Yeah. And was that due to all of these things happening, or is it because you guys just changed as people?
Both.
Oh shit.
Both. And I think this was a big part of that change for me, was it all started, really the big change for me started whenever my dad had passed away in 2014. So that happens in April. So my dad dies the day before my birthday.
Oh my God, dude.
In April. So he dies at 62 from pancreatic cancer. I turned 31 the next day. And all I can think about is like halfway. You're fucking halfway there. Half of your life's gone.
Holy
and so like,
shit.
man, that translates to me. That translates to 1,612 weeks. That's it. That's all of it. And maybe the cards are stacked in my favor to be a little bit older than 62 when I go, but that ain't guaranteed. And I'll live accordingly. And so
that moment there
that
was
shifted a
pivotal
bunch. That shifted a bunch of like, if that's true and I do have this amount of time left, that means all my dreams, everything I want to experience, everything I can ever think of has to happen in the next 1,612 weeks.
God damn.
Or it doesn't. That's it. And so get busy. So try to shift into that. And then, that's 2014. So then I start the apparel company and things are building momentum. And then there's this. And so it's fight. Still feel the same way about my life and then trying to figure it out. And so at this point, dude, I am doing everything I can figure out to mitigate the chronic pain. So I've switched my diet. I'm down 60 pounds. I've done carnivore for 8 months because it's anti-inflammatory. I've done keto for a really long time. I'm trying peptides. I'm growth hormone. If it's a possibility to help, I'm in.
Yeah. 2 to 8 chronic pain. I get it.
And so when it was bad, and what would cause it to go bad was like, maybe I walked too far that day, like 200 yards total.
Wow.
Not like at once.
Yeah.
And like, I can't step upstairs. I can't. And when it was really bad and really inflamed, like I would get a shooting pain that I would say is like a 9 out of 10. because it could be worse. I could be on fire. Right. So it's not a 10.
Yeah.
So I don't know that 10 exists and I don't know if 0 exists. But so that's where I am. I'd get this like stabbing pain on the medial side of my knee every time I exhale.
Oh, no.
When it hits, are you like stumbling to look for pills? Or are you're like, I got to take something to make this go away?
I switched to cannabis. Like, so I just.
And that
opiates,
helped.
Dude, it helped me a ton. So opiates work. They make the pain go away, but I can't do anything else.
You're fucking just part of the couch.
Yeah. And I mean, look, time and a place. Like if pain for me gets to an 8 or a 9, that's what we're doing. But if it's a 2, I don't need a Percocet. I need another option. And so cannabis helped me a ton with that. That was a really big game changer for me of figuring out how to mitigate with that.
So you don't feel the pain anymore and you're able to function?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So to an extent, it definitely kept me happier. I know I'm more depressed the more that I take Vicodin and opiates. So pot didn't make me that way. I just got fatter.
The munchies.
The munchies hit real good.
Yeah, one thing at a time. And so I got
Were you still training when you were going through all this pain and stuff? Like, were you just hitting upper body or anything like that?
much as you can.
And is that just part of the habit or the discipline that you had? Or is it you're just a meathead or?
You control what you can control, right? Like when things are chaotic, like I can't let the shit that's working slip too.
Yeah.
Because then what?
Yeah. That's a good mindset to have. Because there's like a lot of NBA players, the minute they're injured, they gain 30 pounds. They're just, I'm not doing shit.
Well, and I gained weight.
Yeah.
You're just not doing as much. But man, I did everything I could to stay active. Like spent a lot of time on the assault bike with a leg and a straight leg brace, just sitting on the front peg.
And just using arms.
Because you can arm.
Yeah.
So it's the greatest recovery tool that's ever been made. Is that awful bike.
It is awful, but it's so awesome.
Man, and yeah, so the mindset shift. So like I got hooked up with some other friends that were leaning into psychedelics, and I went that route and found a ton of benefit.
And this is through 2014, or is it throughout the years?
So this is psychedelics probably started in 2017, 2018.
Okay. So kind of moving back a little bit, we're still 2014. You're on what surgery number at that point?
By 2018?
Yeah. No, 14.
2014. So
because this is right where you were
2014, there's no surgeries yet. First surgery starts in 2016. So dad dies.
Okay. Got it.
And then, so we've continued on.
Got it. Okay. So then you're dealing with that. Now possibly having a kid.
Trying for 18 months and not successfully doing it. And then,
so at this point, is the relationship already kind of rocky?
It's rough.
Because, oh, fuck.
It's rough. And like, man, I fucking overlooked some big stuff in that relationship. And I see it now, and especially on the back end. And I've, had a fortunate enough time that I still have a relationship with Ashley that I can express, I fucked up. I'm super sorry.
That's awesome. Do you mind sharing what some of those things were?
So when I went down to Costa Rica for ayahuasca the first time, really expecting this big transformative thing. Like I've never had more expectation of a big experience coming.
What were you going there in search of?
That. Just
a transformation?
I just want to know. Like I've seen nothing but good stuff happen to smart people I know for trying this.
So you're doing it just for the sake of that, not because there's a void or perspective change you're searching for in your own personal life.
Well, I want to be better. So I want to be more aware of my shit.
Where did you feel like you were lacking though? Like where did you feel that there was like is it because of this relationship that ended that you're like, oh shit, I got to seek out more shit?
And so I'd started with psychedelics before that just because I wanted the mindset shift. I'd also become friends with some people who were using more and were smart. And so seeing that operate like in the real world was really fascinating. And I was like, okay, I'm interested.
So for example, for me, right? I guess this is what at least I'm trying to find. So for me, when I wanted to have my mind shift, I haven't done ayahuasca and I definitely want to try it. But for me, it was like, I just want deeper connections with people. Mm-hmm. So that was like my driving force. For you, it's like, I just want to untap some shit that I don't know about.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
It was untap some stuff I don't know about. And also like find more drive, find more intention, find more way to sort out my ADD or, lean into it.
I get it, because your dad passed. Now you have like this finite amount of
Fucking
time.
TikTok.
Got it. So you're like, I need to speed this shit up.
Hit the super. Yeah.
I need to Tim Ferriss this bitch.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And so during that, like, so I get 2 nights where nothing happens.
How many nights do you get to take
4.
it? Okay.
So 4 nights that were there. The first 2 nights I get nothing.
The whole experience too, like there's a bucket where you need to throw up into, right?
Yeah. So you purge. Not everyone.
That doesn't sound very fun.
It's not right. Like and I understand that apprehension that people have, but man,
is it immediate? Like you drink the tea and you're like immediately?
You go lay down and some people get nauseous and some don't.
Did you get nauseous?
I did the 3rd night. Yeah, I finally purged.
Why do they call it a purge?
Because that's what it feels like. Like because you're in it and in the medicine.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you feel like you are getting rid of your garbage.
I think I've felt that before. So when we were going through our relationship shit, it was so awful that we were like, okay, we need to connect on some other level. And how can we do this? So at this point, he has done in high school, he did so much fucking ecstasy that he was like, well, this is the only
Party
time
animal.
I know how to connect with people heart to heart, completely vulnerable. I know how to like have these deeper relationships and connections through that vehicle. So we're like,
and
fuck
it's
it.
a good one.
I had no idea.
Okay.
So at this point, I'm fucking desperate. And I'm like, all right, let's do whatever. So we both take it.
Are y'all married at this point or no?
Yes,
Okay.
very married. Very married. Barbell's established.
Right
JK's established. We're like, what, 6 years into our relationship?
Okay.
And yeah, we were just talking through, everything that we had gone through, things that we didn't even know we were sweeping under the rug or or like covering up, or like we started really like fighting for the other person in our own mind. And as that was happening and things were getting uncovered, I just wanted to throw it all up. And I felt like I was throwing up all the bad shit. So I can completely relate with what you're saying.
I mean, and plenty of places are now using MDMA therapy with couples.
I love
it's MD. Forgive me for getting stuff wrong here, but MDMA is treated like I guess it's not one of the classic psychedelics. So LSD, acid, mushrooms.
Yeah, you're not
those type of
seeing
things,
shit.
right? No, but there is something. There is an altered state, and there is a heart opening that comes with it.
Yeah, there's an extreme rush of empathy. And I think that really helped us out, because when we were going through our dark times in our relationship, like they're the bad guy. Mm-hmm. And once that person, your significant other, becomes a bad guy in their mind, every other thing that happens in life, instead of being on their side, they're like questioning things. Like, why are you doing that? Like that.
Of course,
that's what happens when resentment shows up.
Exactly.
And
But
resentment's really hard to undo.
Yeah. But when we were doing our ecstasy stuff, there's an extreme amount of empathy to the point where you can almost get that person's back in your own mind. And then now I'm producing the answers. I'm like, when you did this, it wasn't because of this, huh? It was because of this.
I was like, yes.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Finally.
It was really awesome.
Yeah. I mean, and it was something that triggered a ton for me with Aya. Like, so the 3rd night, like one of the things I envision, and I mean, I didn't get any like big visuals like I had taken mushrooms. It was all internal. And so one of the things is, like I see myself laying on the bed at my house back in Louisiana, and my knees done up post-surgery. And I'm miserable and I'm laying there and I'm bummed. And I remember just thinking, like, why don't you fucking work? Like all the people out there that they're going to have good knees and don't fucking need them. Like mine, I'll use mine. Yeah. And I have all that bitterness and that anger about it. Right. And I'm looking at it and I'm being mad that my fucking body doesn't work. It doesn't do the thing it's supposed to do. And like, as I turned or something happened and I looked back at the bed and it's Ashley. And I never during that stretch of time put together that like her not being able to get pregnant was the same thing I have with my leg.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like, man, I just fucking missed it. I just missed it that she also feels broken.
Yeah.
And like, fuck, that was rough.
And you were so focused on your own thing that your blinders were on.
Just buried.
So you don't even know what she was going through.
No, just buried. And it was a good realization. So the empathy thing is, I needed it because it's not a strong suit that I came naturally equipped with.
Yeah.
But man, that's been a huge one. And not only just huge empathy for the people in my life, but having empathy for me has been really an interesting
What's
one.
that like? Give us that rundown.
Yeah, that was fucking hard. Like that period of life is really, really hard. I don't want to underplay it. I don't want to pretend that it wasn't hard. I don't want to pretend that it wasn't rough or hard on her or hard on me or shaping or any of those things. And so, being able to forgive myself for some shit decisions I made or any of these other type of things with just like, dude, you weren't okay.
Yeah, but you just were unaware.
Okay. No, you just can't see it.
Yeah.
That the actions you're taking are completely out of character because you just don't know what to fucking do. And so you're just looking for solace somewhere. And, yeah.
Was there at any point though where you were like, fuck, I'm just going to throw in the towel. Like, I just want to end it all. Like, I don't want to be here.
I never ever got suicidal. Like, I don't remember having any blatant suicidal thoughts. One thing you said earlier about like the leg, I had that discussion with my surgeon when I went in before total knee replacement at 36. Like, they don't want to do total knee replacement. You're 36. You're too young. And I basically was like, yo, I need something.
Yeah.
But otherwise I got to get rid of the leg.
Yeah.
Because I can't continue like this. I know that. I know that, like, I never had suicidal thoughts, but I knew that I couldn't run out the clock feeling how I felt. That at some point it would have got the best of me and I'd have punched out.
Yeah.
And man, I fucking get it. I get it with the chronic pain because there's just time with it that, like, I can remember having moments and sitting there and just being like, I fucking need 10 minutes where this doesn't hurt.
Oh, man.
I just need 10 fucking minutes and I can sort it out and I can catch my breath and I can be back in it.
Wow.
And you just can't find room.
That's fucking
God
crazy.
damn.
And so, like, the only time that the chronic pain wasn't an issue was either in the hot tub or in the cold tub.
God damn.
That's it. Those were the only time I could get it quiet. And I think just part of that is sensory
Or making
overload.
knuckle children, probably.
That one.
Yeah.
Or jerking off.
3
But
options. Yeah.
how many times can I do that a day? 7, 8 at most.
God damn. Damn, young buck.
You just buy one of those machines that gets them out of you. Just a milker.
The Japanese ones. Damn.
That's rough.
Yeah. So it was.
So
Yeah.
like most people could be like, all right, well, I'm just going to give up on all these other things. I'm going to try to focus on this one thing. Maybe I can get government assistance. Maybe I can just kind of like let all this other shit go and just focus on this one thing. But you were still running a whole bunch of other shit. How?
Distraction. I need it too.
Damn.
You know what I mean? At least those things weren't requiring me to physically do. Look, it got really old making fucking rehab content. Who the fuck wants to see me rehab again for the 9th time in 3 years? Like, ugh, sorry.
I personally really loved your rehab content.
Okay.
Because I think what I liked about it more from the actual know-how and application, I can sense your spirit of climbing a mountain. You know what I mean? Like when I would watch your content, it wasn't like, I mean, my knees work perfectly fine. Don't be jealous.
You shitbag.
But it wasn't like, okay, so I can use that, apply it to my life. But seeing someone that has had so much adversity, and I would see you try to box squat.
It's
or
inspiring as fuck.
I could squat 135 slightly above parallel right now. Seeing that was extremely inspiring. Seeing someone slowly climb the mountain back up and just seeing what you do, getting back on the bike, pumping blood through it. It was awesome. I loved it. It was just like this, seeing like what you would see from a inspirational Nike commercial or movie or whatever, but happening in real life, in real time.
I appreciate it, man. And that was the intent that I wanted to show. That I wanted to show that, like, yo, I still show up.
Yeah.
I love it.
You know,
that
what are we going to do? Stop? What the fuck does that accomplish?
Well, I love that you were vulnerable enough to open that up and not have ego. And I mean, because you're a fucking world champion, dude. This is so vulnerable for you to not feel capable or strong. And then to show that to the public, a lot of people don't want, that's an ugly side. That's an embarrassing side for some people.
And it's crazy that it still rears its head. Like it hasn't been until the last probably 6 or 8 weeks that since 2016, I have not followed a consistent training program. Since then, I'll just go to the gym and do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. I'm not training for anything other than when I did the run. And then I just ran.
Yeah.
And
I want to talk about that too. God damn, your story's so fucking interesting.
And so like now being back on a consistent training program, like I could feel my ego about it too, because my back's jacked up, my hips jacked up. And so like, I have deadlifts or something tomorrow or whatever day it is. And like, I'm pulling from blocks with like 155.
Oh shit.
And that's
Stronger
not cool
than
to
Matt
show
Vincent?
people.
But you're still doing it.
It's not cool to show people, but at the end of the day, like, here's where I am. This is real.
And I think that's what's really motivating.
Yeah. And so today, if I got it, I'll lift heavier. If I don't, I'll do the bar.
That's big dick energy, dude.
Yeah, you're still doing it.
It's moving a pile of dirt. It's my favorite way I've heard it described at life and like how you're trying to make progress. John Welborn says it. It's a moving a pile of dirt. Some days you got a backhoe and other days you got a spoon. Just keep moving dirt.
Yeah. Yeah. Or what some people say, one foot in front of the other.
That's it.
Chip away at it.
Well, like, and I got that honestly from you guys. Like, so the first time I came out and we filmed and talked about everything years ago, I mean, you guys even saying that, like, we don't know how to open a brick and mortar gym. So we bought a book for how to open brick and mortar for dummies.
Just fucking spit on it.
Just a little spit, just a little bit of spit.
I started salivating, dude.
It's just close. It's just spit on it. It's too familiar.
Sticking a bar.
Weird shaped dick bar.
It's girthy, dude.
Yeah.
Keeps a dead cat on the end of it just for wind. For wind.
Yeah. I love it.
But yeah, like, so like, oh shit, what were we talking about?
That we were going like, we don't know what the fuck we're doing. We got to fucking.
And so like, even hearing you guys say that, it was like, so we'll just take the next step until we run into one we can't figure out.
Yeah.
Literally.
And it's easy when you start breaking stuff down that way of like, well, there's a next step. So we'll just deal with that one. And I mean, I treated rehab with that approach. I treat everything that way of like, let's just figure out
Just move.
what tomorrow does.
Yep.
And that fallacy, I think a lot of people fall into of the like, well, we'll get there. Once we're there, or I do this will change.
Yep.
That ain't how it works.
Yep.
It all changes in the journey.
Yeah.
So if you don't like the journey, getting there ain't going to do shit for you.
Yep.
What about after the ayahuasca trip? Like, and you had your revelation, like what were your next steps or actions that you felt like you needed to take, and how did that?
So that's integration. And that's a big part of using the plant medicine and stuff like that. Like, it's not going to change you. Like if you take that and have this big awakening experience and have a bunch of stuff, like it kind of gives you a fresh start to start inlaying new habits and patterns. Mm-hmm. But if you fall into your shit, it'll happily let you have it. Like you'll just go back to building your patterns again. They just like that intrinsic reward system for weird patterns and habits that you have, whether emotional or any of that, just seemed to be clear. And so I could start fresh on a lot of stuff. And it's like, if I don't want to approach with that immediate negative mindset, like I knew for a long time, I'm a guy that if a thing popped up as a stress, it was panic, fuck, freak out, and then I could come around. And that window has continued to get shorter.
Sick.
Right? That like, this is a wasted amount of energy. We know we're going to get here. Let's just stop the freak out.
And you got that through ayahuasca.
Being able to implement, like, what is the freak out about? The freak out is an anxiety about a thing that has not happened.
Yeah.
Stop.
Oh, what I was asking about is when you realized the whole knee thing and you drew the parallel with what Ashley was going through about the baby, like when you went home, what was that conversation
Well,
like?
so by that point, like Bonnie and I are together. I'm divorced. Like I've been divorced for a year.
Oh, so it
by
was
the time I did ayahuasca.
So it was a revelation that helped like untie some knots that were like 3 years ago.
Just like as soon as I got a chance to see her in person, I was like, I have to explain this to you.
I see. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I am so fucking sorry. I missed that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And when she heard that, was she like, that's what I felt?
And she's like, thank you. Because she doesn't have the words for a lot of it either.
Right.
Yeah, most people don't.
Right. You don't realize you're too close.
Yeah.
And so
you have more feelings than you have words that you know.
Yeah. So that empathy went a long way of like, okay. And that's helped a ton just across the board with anyone I deal with or anything in any stressful situations, being able to own how my interaction with the situation goes completely and then have empathy for like, I don't know what's shaping your decisions. I don't know what your last 6 weeks have looked like. I don't know how you were as a kid.
Yeah.
And so like I can control what I can control, and I don't take the rest of it personal.
Did this come after you started experimenting with like psychedelics, or were you always this way?
No, never this way. Wasn't great.
Yeah, because I see every time I think of you, I just think of you as like this like very vulnerable, very open, honest dude.
It's gotten better.
How are you? What the fuck? How were you before?
I mean, I would say I was more not standard dude anyway, but like for sure just artist, nerdy, creative guy that wants to do weird shit, but also the jock side. And so like having that side and the confidence that came with it, like I'm still cocky and still arrogant and plenty of fucking ego and narcissistic. I mean, the narcissism thing's a really strange one because I mean, I am filming myself doing rehab in a garage. Like there's a weird bit of
the motivation's different though. Because like when you're an athlete, you kind of have to be narcissistic. You have to really envision and believe that you're the fucking shit.
It's what gives you the competitive edge.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. But then to share it, I didn't see it as narcissistic. I just saw it as you have something that is helping you. And you're like, well, who else can it help? I'm putting it out there.
Sure. But I mean, the narcissism point of like, whether that was starting a podcast or doing any of these other things, it was like, my conversations are pretty great. I should share those and maybe make money from it. It's a weird thing. And like at least I'll just sit and be aware of like that switch is in there and like fucking keep an eye on it.
That's true.
But yeah, it was tough, man. It was tough figuring those things out and finding that empathy and like what a difference that made. And not just empathy, but then gratitude and like gratitude for maybe not for the injury, but I got 10 years of my athletic career that I got to just pour gasoline on this fire and my body did nothing but fucking respond for 10 years. Let's go. Get bigger, get stronger, get faster, throw further, win.
Don't be jealous, Bart. Like you said about your 2 good knees. He had that.
And then I didn't. Right. And man, the way that, again, it was never going to be long term.
I mean, that's a dope perspective.
It's never going to be long term.
Yeah.
And I don't know when it was going to end, but it did. And so, man, just having that gratitude that like, I got to travel around the world for 10 years and do a sport that I love. Like I'm born at the right time, right place to get to do that. Not only that, like I got to travel and do it with my brother. Like he competed as a professional in the Highland. Like, who gets to share that?
Yeah,
and
that's
like,
rare.
At that point too, like I'm bummed because the sport's gone. So I also don't have the 10 guys that I've traveled around the world with anymore. And I see those dudes every weekend. And the cool part with the Highland Games is like, there's no Highland Games gyms. There's no community. It's just us when we see each other on the weekends. Everyone trains by themselves. And so then that's gone. And so like these other lunatics that get it aren't in my life anymore.
Yeah.
And it's not a fault of theirs. Like, we know that's how it goes. I mean, what are they going to fucking do? Follow me around and ask how my knee is all the time? Like, they have shit to do. They're training too. And then that shift. And so my brother, I don't see him every weekend anymore. So there was just a lot of changes that fell.
A lot of loss, dude.
Yeah.
It feels like loss.
Even getting back with my brother on it and being able to say like, our relationship's changed and it's a bummer to me, but that's okay. Like, I can't believe I got to travel with you and share all that time. Like family members don't do that.
Yeah.
And so having the gratitude for like what a cool chapter that was, despite that it's over. So let's worry about the next chapter being as rad too. Not focused on that one. It's done.
That's so rad. That's the thing I've noticed. We've had several guests already on this podcast and they're all killers in their field, like they've dominated whatever it is that they set out to accomplish. And everyone has this champion mindset of like, the glass is half empty, but it's also half full. And it's all perspective. And I see that time and time and time again, like that winner mindset of like, shit is fucked up. Okay, how did I contribute to this shit that's fucked up? Okay, what changes can I make to make it less fucked up?
Yeah.
I see that time and time and time again. And that's why I'm like so grateful that you're here being as vulnerable and sharing this story because we all go through so many fucking obstacles and life tests us. And like, it's really your response to it. You know, some people cave in and they're like, no, I don't want to. And unfortunately, they don't get to live the life that, or the universe that you say that you like, you create your own universe, you know?
I believe it, man.
Yeah. And you're a true example of someone that's like, I'm not laying down.
Well, I'm going to be dead at some point. Like that's coming. I know it.
Yeah,
and
but some people are okay with
weeks.
that.
It's like 1,200 weeks at this point is what I have left.
I've seen your fucking marbles, man. And every time you throw a marble away, it makes me a little bit anxious.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Because like the other side of that too, I don't much believe in an afterlife. And so
Really?
Not really.
Damn, I can see now why Rogan has like 4-hour podcasts. I feel like I can keep diving deeper and deeper and deeper.
And so like whether I spent that past week like obligated to do shit because I'm supposed to and I'm following the status quo and I went to these job meetings and I did this stuff and I'm not fulfilled, but I'm doing the right thing, right? White picket fence, the 2 weeks vacation, the whole whatever that safety thing is we're convinced of. Or I can spend my life completely chasing the things I love and figuring it out and being completely responsible that if it doesn't work, it's my fucking fault. Both paths still end with me in the ground. There's not a risk to trying. Right?
Do you say you don't believe in the afterlife to say that like you're just fucking gunning it the entire way here because it's just one shot, one life? That's it. Fuck.
That's it. Now, if I'm going to make a stretch on how I'd feel about the afterlife, I believe in kind of the idea of the conservation of energy. Energy is not created or destroyed.
Yeah.
I think this is a really interesting point in my energy's existence that I have a physical form. But this may be the only chapter that I get a physical form.
So after that, you're just
I don't know.
part of the earth and
No clue.
become dirt or whatever.
No clue whatsoever.
Damn.
I mean, do I think it's fluffy clouds in heaven? I don't. Do I think it's hell? I don't.
Fuck. Have you seen his marble thing that he does? So he
No.
has a jug of, how many marbles is it? Is it the till
1,612?
Yeah. So he has a jug of these marbles that represent every day of his life until
Every week.
every week of his life. And then at the end of the week, he gets one, he walks it over to the trash can and throws it away. So it's like a visualization of like how much time, perceived time he has left.
And so like, let's say I make it to 62, right? And I'm healthy.
You
and
are
things
going to make it to 62.
I'm sure. But I'm also aware that if I get in the car today to drive somewhere in town, like that's not a 0% success rate. That's a realistic way I look at it. It's very unlikely, but it isn't a zero. And if my time gets punched today, my time for the last 8 years hasn't been spent not doing the things I want to do.
I look at you and Bonnie's Instagram and I just look at how you guys live life and it's so fucking beautiful. You guys have such a beautiful relationship. You guys like compliment each other, not like literally compliment each other, but like
nice. You look great.
But like your lifestyles complement each other. You guys are very independent people, but very united still. You travel the fucking world. You hang out with friends. Like you just saw our friend Steffi Cohen fight in fucking Dubai.
That was super fun.
Initially was supposed to be in Florida. They last minute changed it and you're like, yep, I'm going there.
Well, I was already in Africa, so it made sense.
But still, you know what I mean? Like the fact that you've curated your life to support whatever fucking wild decision that you want is absolutely fascinating and so fucking inspirational.
Well, I mean, but you guys have done the same. Like, I mean, to throw the compliment back, Bonnie and I both feel that way about being around you guys.
Don't throw
as a
it
couple.
back, dude, because we're talking about you.
Fine.
And we're couch livers.
Couch
We
livers.
are, man. We're so.
No,
we were
'cause-
just talking about this yesterday.
Because you guys live like you're gonna die tomorrow, which is cool, and it's even cooler that you have this cool visual representation of how much time you have left. So I think you have this weekly reminder of how much time you have left. Where most people, I think they understand that their time's limited, but if you're not reminded of things, you're gonna live like you have infinite time, infinite money, infinite everything, And I just think it's so cool that you actually, for the last, I don't know how long I've known you, every single month, it looks like you're living as if that's conscious on your mind.
Yep.
It is. I wish that anxiety would go away sometimes and like I'd be able to lay on the couch a little bit better, but it doesn't work so good. I like it. I like the way that it makes me feel. Like, I mean, how many stories do you hear about those people that like, find out they have some terminal thing and then they just step on the gas pedal of life because there isn't a risk anymore. We're like, yo, you're fucking terminal now.
Yeah.
Right.
Why don't you do that now?
Right.
Like, I am. Right. And
Yeah.
like, that's how I feel about it. Like, yo, I'm terminal.
Damn. What advice would you give to someone, and then we'll wrap it up, because I feel like we can talk for fucking ever. I fucking love this episode. What advice would you give to someone that's a little bit more risk adverse?
Yeah, like someone, and I'm sure you probably get this in the comments and DMs all the time, someone that's a little bit more risk adverse, which I think all of us have been there, right? Like you had a 9 to 5, you had the cushy job, the white picket fence, that, like you had the dream, American dream job. Like, what advice would you give someone that is in that state of mind, but sees how you grab life by the horns and want to go in that direction? Like, what can they do, or what's a different perspective that they can have to accelerate that transformation?
One, I think, is just complete honesty about it. And one of those things about the complete honesty about it is understand that if you'd like to do this thing and build your own life and create your own thing, which is your own income, your own everything, you're never not at work anymore. Just go ahead and fucking deal with that. But I don't look at that as a weird thing, because success for me and like what I would like to accomplish was going to be hard work either way, whether that was supporting someone else's business and working my ass off for it to get what I wanted, or I can invest in me. I'd rather take the shot at investing in me. And for that risk adverse person, like, man, if you've got it, if you've got what it takes to figure out this hustle and entrepreneur life, it's not a risk to take a shot at it. You're hireable. Like, if you can kind of make this work for any stretch of time, you're so valuable to someone else who can figure it out, they'll fucking hire you.
Yeah.
Because people in our spots need so much help, because you have
We were just talking about that.
right. Because I still only have 24 hours. And so the only thing I can do with time is, time's such an interesting commodity, because I can't buy any more of it, but I can buy yours and I can sell mine. And so I have to multiply by buying time from other people to do the work that I can't do in a single day. So now we can do 3 times the work. And man, good help's great. You have to have it. And people that buy in and do all that. So like, man, if you've got what it takes to figure your thing out, run with it. And find out. Like, fuck going into the ground wondering what if.
Yeah.
I'd way rather fail. I'd so much rather fail. Like the big failures I've had, like bike shop or, any of these other type of things. Like,
because you used to own a bike shop.
Yep. That was the first shot at trying to work for me, was opened a bicycle shop, and it fucking failed miserably. But man, I learned a lot. Opened a brick and mortar. I understand what didn't work. And have applied that going forward. And I think the more that you can kind of non-emotionally look at stuff and just look at like, did this work? Did this not work? What's the data? Make an intelligent decision and treat that risk that way, instead of expecting it to go in any way you think it's going to go.
Yeah.
And just have the intention of like, let's figure out the next step.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I fucking love it. I love everything you're doing. I love everything you stand for. I know you personally. We know you personally, and you're the fucking truth, man. And I love you for it. We love you for it. That's why we call you a brother. That's why we call you family. So grateful that you gave us this time.
Dude, I'm happy. I'm so pumped to be here.
Yes,
but
I love it.
That's the beauty of it, right? Because I own that. I'm never where I don't want to be. I'm not obligated to be here.
Yeah.
So if I'm not obligated, be present. And that's like, I deal with that with my mom, because like family gatherings and shit like that, I don't want to go to. And so what I have explained to her is like, so I'll never come to a thing I don't want to come to. I'll just tell you no. But if I'm there, you don't ever have to question it. And so like, I'll give you both, you get both sides of that coin, is that if I'm here and I'm with you, know that there isn't anywhere else I want to be. And I don't feel obligated to hang out with you because you're my mom.
I love it.
I want to hang out with you because I love you. And you're someone that I believe is great to have in my life.
I love it. I fucking love it. I love it. Keep doing you. Don't change. I love everything you are. Like, I can already see it. Anything you are going to ever fucking put your hand in, it's going to be fucking badass.
Thank you.
I love it. And I'll close it out. I know I said I was going to close it out. You also have a mentorship.
Yeah.
So if anyone listening right now really connects and vibes with this, dude, hit up Matt Vincent. He'll help you steer whatever it is you're trying to steer to. Thank you so much, Matt.
Yeah. I
Fucking
appreciate
love
it,
you,
man.
dude.
You guys are the best.
So proud of you. So inspired by you. So motivated by you. Nothing but love, man.
Same. Tons for both of you guys, man.
You're not allowed to say that on our podcast, bro.
Thank
it's
you.
about you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Anything you want to say?
Nope.
Every time. God dang it. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Love you guys as well. And we'll see you next week.